Have you ever hugged a woman and felt something shift? A pause, a breath, a silence that said more than words ever could. That's not coincidence. That's energy. And the truth is, most men have no idea how much power they give away in that moment. They think a hug is casual, friendly, simple. But to a woman, it's a test. It reveals your confidence, your presence, your calm. It tells her whether you're grounded or needy, whether your energy commands respect or craves validation. A real man doesn't hug to seek connection. He hugs to project control, safety, and strength. Because the right hug can make her feel something she can't explain. A pull she'll think about long after you've walked away. In this video, you'll learn 7 simple things every man must do when he hugs a woman to make her feel safe, desired, and quietly obsessed without saying a single word. Because when your presence speaks louder than your touch, that's when she truly feels you, and she won't forget it. Most men think attraction happens through words, compliments, charm, confidence on display. But women don't fall for noise. They fall for energy. And nothing reveals your energy faster than silence, especially the silence of a hug. When you hug a woman, you're not just touching her body, you're allowing her to feel your presence, the way you breathe, the steadiness of your heartbeat, the stillness in your movement. All of it communicates something far deeper than language. If your energy is restless, she feels it. If you're nervous, she feels it. If you're grounded, calm, sure of yourself, without needing anything from her, she feels that too. And that feeling becomes unforgettable. A Stoic man understands that his calm is power. He doesn't rush the moment. He doesn't seek permission to be comfortable. He simply is. Because presence isn't about forcing energy outward, it's about mastering what's within. When you hold a woman, the steadiness of your breath tells her she's safe. The stillness of your frame tells her you're in control. And in that quiet moment, something shifts inside her. She relaxes. Not because you said the right thing, but because your energy says, I'm here. I'm grounded. I don't need to prove anything. Most men approach a hug with the wrong mindset. They overthink it, or they hesitate as if they're asking for permission to exist in that space. But the Stoic man doesn't chase approval through touch. He creates peace through presence. He knows that how he enters the moment defines how she feels in it. A weak, uncertain approach tells her you're seeking comfort. A calm, grounded approach tells her you are comfort. Think about it. When you walk into a room with calm confidence, people feel it. They may not know why, but something about your energy commands attention. A hug works the same way. It's not the hug itself that draws her in, it's your state of being during it. You don't need to prove strength. You radiate it. You don't need to impress her. You center her. And that's what makes the moment magnetic. Before a hug, slow down. Take a single deep breath, not for her, but for yourself. Let that breath remind you that you are in control of your own energy. Then approach her with quiet confidence. Shoulders back, eyes calm, movements deliberate. When you move slowly and intentionally, it signals that you're not operating out of impulse. You're operating out of certainty. That's the kind of masculine energy women can feel before you even touch them. When you embrace her, don't rush to fill the silence. Let it exist. That silence is what makes your energy felt. Your body language says more than your words ever could. Your stillness whispers, "I don't need your validation to feel powerful." And that paradox, calmness instead of performance, is what makes her curious, intrigued, even a little nervous. Because deep down, she knows this kind of confidence can't be faked. Presence is magnetic because it's rare. Most men live in reaction, reacting to her tone, her body language, her attention. A Stoic man does the opposite. He creates gravity. His calm doesn't bend to her energy. Her energy adapts to his. And once she feels that steadiness, her defenses melt. The noise in her mind quiets. For the first time, she feels safe, not because you told her she's safe, but because your silence proved it. This is the essence of calm presence. It's not passive. It's not cold. It's commanding through composure. It's the kind of control that doesn't seek to dominate it, seeks to stabilize. You're not trying to make her like you. You're reminding her what peace feels like. And when a woman associates you with peace, she will crave your presence the way others crave attention. Remember this truth. A hug reveals the level of control you have over yourself. An anxious hug says, "Please like me." A stoic hug says, "I'm at peace with or without your approval." And that difference is everything. So before you worry about how long to hold her or where to place your hands, focus on this first step. Be fully present. When you master your energy, your calm becomes contagious. When you master your presence, your silence becomes attractive. Because to a woman, your stillness isn't emptiness, it's safety. And that's what she will always come back to. A powerful hug doesn't come from strength. It comes from awareness. Most men think attraction is in the pull, the arms, the closeness, the pressure. But what truly makes a woman melt is the energy between the invisible field created when you lean in with intention, not impulse. Leaning in is not about closing distance. It's about establishing gravity. When you lean in slightly, not too much, not too fast, you're communicating one thing silently. I'm comfortable here, and you can be too. Women feel safety before they feel attraction. That moment, when your body moves in sync with calm confidence, she feels it through her nervous system. Her guard drops. Her breath matches yours. Her heartbeat slows to your rhythm. Because she's no longer reacting to touch, she's responding to presence. The difference is subtle, but powerful. A boy hugs to take. A man hugs to give. And a stoic man hugs to anchor. When you lean in slightly, you're sending a message through your body language. I am not rushing. I am grounded. This is where attraction transforms from curiosity to connection. Because a woman's intuition doesn't respond to words, it responds to energy. Here's what happens on a deeper level. When your movement is composed, your shoulders steady, your chest aligned, your breathing calm, her subconscious registers your stability. It's the same reason a storm feels calmer when you're near someone who doesn't flinch at thunder. That calm transfers. It's contagious. And that's what the subtle lean does. It transfers your centeredness into her uncertainty. The biggest mistake most men make is confusing assertiveness with aggression. They rush in too fast, too forcefully, trying to prove confidence. But real confidence doesn't announce itself. It simply exists. A slow, deliberate lean shows restraint, and restraint is power. It's the mark of a man who doesn't need closeness to feel secure. He allows closeness because he is secure. Notice how small details shift everything. When you lean in, keep your back straight, your chin relaxed, your breath slow. Don't collapse into her, don't shrink yourself. Your body should communicate structure, not tension. It's not the physical touch that draws her in. It's the emotional clarity behind it. You're not leaning in because you crave her. You're leaning in because you accept the moment. That subtle difference between craving and allowing is what makes you magnetic. Think of it this way: the Stoic man never chases energy. He aligns with it. When she feels your composure, she mirrors it. When you slow down, she softens. When you breathe steadily, she subconsciously follows that rhythm. Leaning in becomes an invitation, not an intrusion. It says, "I'm not here to control you. I'm here to connect." And that one message breaks through every wall she didn't even know she had. This subtle act also reveals something else: patience. When you move with patience, you show mastery over your impulses. A man who doesn't rush a hug won't rush a connection. A man who's present in a moment can be trusted in a lifetime. That's how the lean becomes symbolic, a quiet lesson in how you approach everything slowly, deliberately, with control. Remember this: a hug is not a performance. It's an exchange of energy, and the energy you bring determines what she feels. So when you lean in as a man who already owns his space, not as a man trying to earn hers. Because attraction isn't born from effort. It's born from ease. And ease only comes from inner peace. Your subtle lean tells her everything she needs to know. You're not seeking validation. You're offering calm. You're not chasing a feeling. You are the feeling. That's why the Stoic man never overreaches. He doesn't collapse into emotion. He lets emotion come to him. And that's exactly what happens when you master this moment. So next time you hug her, remember, you don't lean in to close the gap. You lean in to let her fall into your presence. And when she does, that's when desire begins. There's a difference between touching a woman and reaching her. Most men touch because they want something: attention, validation, désir. But a Stoic man touches because he already has everything he needs. His touch doesn't chase. It communicates. It doesn't plead. It assures. It doesn't ask, "Do you want me?" It simply says, "I'm here." Every movement, every gesture is a message your body sends before your mouth ever opens. When your hand rests on her back, when your fingers trace the edge of her arm, she isn't just feeling your skin, she's reading your energy. If you're restless, she feels tension. If you're calm, she feels peace. A woman's body responds not to your words, but to your presence, and presence cannot be faked. It can only be cultivated through inner stillness. That's what makes an intentional touch so rare. It's not a technique, it's a reflection of who you are in that moment. It's the external expression of internal control. When you're grounded in your own energy, every small action, the way you stand, breathe, move, radiate certainty. That's the kind of energy that draws her in without trying. Because calm confidence is magnetic. A man who's mastered himself doesn't reach out in desperation. He knows that the power of touch lies not in movement, but in meaning. To touch with purpose, you must first understand what energy you're bringing into that space. Are you trying to take something from her? Approval, affection, validation? Or are you giving her something? Safety, warmth, peace? The Stoic man gives, always. Not because he's performing, but because that's his nature. His presence is an offering of stability in a world full of noise. When he places his hand on her shoulder, it's not to control her body, it's to remind her soul that it's safe to exhale. That kind of touch doesn't come from practice. It comes from being. The truth is, your hand reveals your mind. If your mind is unsettled, your hand will shake. If your mind is calm, your touch will be steady. You can't fake inner balance. Women feel it instantly, not through logic, but through intuition. They read your silence better than they hear your words. That's why the man who's mastered his emotions doesn't need to explain himself. His calm speaks louder than any sentence ever could. When you touch her, do it with full awareness. Don't rush. Don't fidget. Don't reach out because silence feels uncomfortable. Touch her only when your intention is clear. When your energy says, "You're safe here." That's what creates attraction that lingers. Because real attraction isn't about excitement, it's about trust. And trust is built in the quiet spaces between words. An intentional touch carries restraint. It holds power, but it never forces. It's slow, deliberate, grounded. It doesn't seek to dominate. It simply stands as a reminder you are in control of yourself. And when a woman feels that, she softens not because she's weak, but because she finally feels secure. Stillness is seductive. Not the kind of stillness that's empty, but the kind that's filled with presence, the quiet power of a man who knows his worth and doesn't need to prove it. When your touch comes from that place, she doesn't just notice it, she remembers it. Long after the moment ends, she'll recall how she felt safe, seen, and steady. Because your energy doesn't disappear when you walk away, it lingers in the air like gravity. That's why the Stoic man never chases. He doesn't have to. His presence does the work for him. His calm, his self-control, his awareness, they speak through the simplest gestures. When he touches, he's not asking for permission to connect. He's reminding her that connection is already there. There's a kind of dominance that doesn't need to raise its voice or flex its muscles. It's found in the man whose calm never wavers, whose eyes never dart, whose hands never tremble. That dominance is not about control over others, it's control over self. And that's what women crave most, a man whose peace is unshakable. You can't fake that kind of energy. You can't force it with lines, tactics, or fake confidence. You earn it by mastering the space within you, your breath, your thoughts, your emotions. when you control your inner world. The outer one bends around you. Every movement becomes intentional. Every silence becomes powerful. Every touch becomes unforgettable. So the next time you reach out, do it with awareness. Don't touch to take. Touch to give. Don't touch to seek validation. Touch to express certainty. Don't touch to ask. Do you want me touch to say, "You're safe here"? Because a man who moves with that kind of calm doesn't have to convince anyone of his worth. His energy speaks for him. And when his hand finds hers, the world seems to slow down, not because of chemistry, but because of clarity. In that moment, she's not thinking about attraction. She's feeling alignment. And that's something no charm or pickup line can ever replace. The Stoic man understands this truth deeply. The body is just the instrument. The real music comes from the energy behind it. That's why his touch feels different. It's not about heat, it's about depth. Not about wanting, but about knowing. Not about desire, but about discipline. Because in the end, a real man doesn't touch to ask. He touches to assure. His calm becomes her comfort. His silence becomes her peace. And as she leans into that stillness, she realizes sometimes the loudest message of love is the one that doesn't need to be spoken. Your touch should not ask. It should assure. Presence is rhythm. It's not just about being there, it's about knowing when to act, when to pause, and when to let silence speak for you. Every hug, every moment of closeness has its own tempo, and the man who understands rhythm doesn't chase connection, he creates it. Most men rush. They hug too soon, hold too long, or pull away too fast. They mistake movement for momentum, thinking the faster they act, the more impact they'll have. But the truth is, attraction doesn't live in motion. It lives in timing. It's not how much you do, it's when and how you do it. A Stoic man moves like music, slow, deliberate, with pauses that make every beat matter. When he embraces a woman, there's no tension in his body, no uncertainty in his touch. His arms don't pull, they hold. His breath doesn't chase, it aligns. She feels not a grasping energy, but a grounded one, like the calm before rain, full of quiet power. The rhythm begins the moment your eyes meet. That instant of contact is the first note. It's not about staring, it's about seeing. When your gaze meets hers, you're not trying to decode her. You're simply being present enough to let her exist fully in your awareness. You're not analyzing, you're absorbing. And in that moment, she feels it, that shift in energy, when a man truly sees without needing to take. When you finally draw her close, don't rush to make it happen. Let it unfold naturally. Let her feel that you're not desperate to close the gap, you're inviting her into it. Because the most powerful embrace is not the one that captures her body, it's the one that synchronizes your breathing. It's when her exhale finds rhythm with yours that the space between you disappears. That's the art of presence, knowing that stillness is a form of dominance. You don't overpower the moment, you anchor it. When you know how to pause, you control the tempo of her emotions. You create a rhythm she instinctively wants to follow. Because deep down, every woman longs to feel a man who is unmoved by chaos. Someone whose heartbeat doesn't race with uncertainty, but beats steadily with purpose. Presence isn't about doing more. It's about being more. You can't fake it with charm. Words. HerXWant. It's born in silence, in how you breathe, how you hold, how you let go. It's in the way you release her. Not because you've lost interest, but because you trust the moment enough to end it right. If you hold on too long, it shows attachment. If you pull away too early, it shows fear. But when you move in rhythm, beginning, holding, releasing, you show mastery. You're communicating through time, not words. You're telling her, I'm aware of you, but I'm not consumed by you. That awareness is what women crave most. A man who's not lost in emotion, but grounded within it. Because emotional control doesn't kill connection, it intensifies it. It tells her that your presence is not reactive, it's intentional. And that kind of control makes her feel something she rarely feels in modern love: safe. When you know how to begin a hug with intention, you set the tone. When you know how to hold it with stillness, you build trust. And when you know how to release it with certainty, you create longing. It's the rhythm of power expansion, stillness, release. Every phase carries meaning, and every pause builds anticipation. The Stoics understood this long before psychology gave it language. They called it measured emotion, the art of feeling deeply without being ruled by feeling. To be fully there, yet fully detached. To give warmth without losing composure. That balance is what separates a fleeting moment from a magnetic one. When she pulls away and you remain still, calm and unbothered, that's when she truly feels your presence. Because she realizes your energy doesn't depend on contact. It creates contact. You're not missing her when she's gone. You're letting her miss your calm, your rhythm, your silence. And that's what stays with her. A man who masters presence never fears distance. He knows the space between moments is what gives them meaning, just like music. It's the pause between notes that creates the melody. You can't hold on forever, but you can make every second of holding matter. When your rhythm is balanced, when you begin with certainty, hold with calm, and release with clarity, you don't just attract her, you awaken her trust. She starts to associate your energy with peace. And peace is the most addictive feeling there is, because in a world that teaches her to chase excitement, a man who moves in quiet rhythm is unforgettable. He doesn't try to rush the dance, he becomes the dance. He doesn't force the moment, he is the moment. That's the rhythm of presence, the still heartbeat that guides everything you do. You don't command attention, you earn stillness. You don't control time, you move with it. And when the moment ends, you don't cling, you let go with grace, leaving behind the calm assurance that lingers long after your hands have parted. Because the truth is, your absence can speak louder than your presence if you know how to leave at the perfect rhythm. A silent man in control of time controls emotion itself. There's a moment before any word is spoken, when everything is already said. It happens in silence, in the brief space between two pairs of eyes. That's where truth lives. And if you know how to hold that space, you never need to say much at all. A man's eyes reveal his inner world. They speak his peace or his chaos, his confidence or his confusion. You can't fake it. You can dress the part. You can perfect your words. But if your gaze wavers, the illusion shatters. The Stoics taught that the eyes are windows of self-mastery. They show whether you command yourself or are enslaved by your impulses. When a man's eyes are steady, not cold, not hard, but anchored, people feel it. They may not know why, but they sense a calm authority. It's the quiet message that says, I see everything, but I am moved by nothing. When you look at a woman, your eyes tell her exactly what kind of man you are. If you look too long, it becomes hunger. If you look away too quickly, it becomes fear. But when you look with composure, that grounded awareness that says, I see you, and I am unmoved, that's when she feels something deeper than attraction. She feels safety. Because beneath all the layers, what women crave most is not attention, it's assurance. And assurance doesn't come from charm. It comes from presence that's still, unwavering energy that says, I'm here, and I don't need anything from you. Your eyes can be that energy. They can be the calm in a storm, the anchor in a room full of noise. When your gaze is deliberate, you communicate that you are not distracted, not reactive, not desperate to be seen. You already see yourself clearly, and when you do, the world sees you differently. Look at her the way a mountain looks at the wind, unmoved, yet aware. There's no need to chase her reaction. Your power lies in the pause between glances, in the restraint that others mistake for mystery, because what she feels in that silence isn't confusion, it's curiosity. And curiosity is the first step toward fascination. When your gaze lingers for just the right amount of time, not as a test, but as a reflection of your steadiness, it says, I choose to see you, not to possess you. That's the energy that separates a man from a boy. The boy seeks approval in her eyes. The man allows her to find herself in that stillness. She starts to wonder what kind of man doesn't flinch under connection. She realizes you're not looking at her beauty, you're looking through it. And that unsettles her in the best way possible. Because deep down, every woman wants to be seen beyond her face, beyond her charm, beyond the act. She wants to be recognized, not worshipped. And a Stoic man does exactly that. He doesn't use his eyes as weapons of seduction. He uses them as mirrors of truth. They say, I see you clearly, but I will not lose myself in you. And that, ironically, is what draws her closer, because there's nothing more magnetic than a man who sees deeply but remains centered. The eyes of a Stoic man don't wander. They're intentional, selective, and calm. When he speaks, his gaze doesn't dart around searching for validation. It stays locked, steady, as if his words are anchored in the ground beneath him. That steadiness commands respect without a single demand. It's not arrogance. It's self-ownership. When a woman meets that kind of gaze, she feels seen in a way that bypasses logic, not inspected, not judged, understood. Because the energy behind the eyes isn't hunger, it's awareness. It's saying, I don't need you to fill me. I am already full. You see, True eye contact isn't about intensity, it's about intention. You don't stare to intimidate. You look to connect without attachment. The moment your eyes begin to seek approval, you've already surrendered your power. But when they rest in quiet certainty, you make her feel like she's standing before something unshakable. That's the essence of masculine presence, not control, not dominance. But depth. Depth is what stops her mind, silences her defenses, and invites her to be real. Because your stillness tells her that it's safe to drop the performance. Your eyes say, "You don't have to pretend. I already see the truth." The world is full of men who talk too much and see too little. They throw words like stones, hoping one will land. But the Stoic man understands that silence, held with awareness, says everything. He uses his eyes not to capture attention, but to project peace. That's why people remember him, not for what he said, but for how they felt in his presence. And the irony is this: when you stop using your eyes to seek, they start to attract. When you stop chasing connection, connection starts chasing you. Because your gaze no longer says, "Please see me." It says, "I already am." So, the next time you look at her, don't look to win her. Look to understand her. Don't look to impress. Look to be present. Let your eyes say what words cannot, that you are the calm in her chaos, the ground beneath her storm. Because when a man's eyes carry peace, the whole room feels it. And when a woman meets that peace, she remembers it long after the conversation ends, long after the moment fades. Your words may move her, but your eyes, they make her stay. Energy never lies. Before you say a word, before you move a muscle, she already feels you. A woman's intuition is tuned to energy, the way a musician is tuned to sound. She may not be able to explain it, but her body knows when you're centered and when you're not. That's why the Stoic man guards his energy like a fortress. He doesn't let moods, desire, or other people's chaos dictate the frequency he stands on, because he knows whatever energy he projects, she will reflect. When you're calm, she feels calm. When you're tense, she feels tension. When you're grounded, she can finally breathe. You don't have to tell her who you are. Your energy says it before you open your mouth. This is the mirror effect. She naturally syncs with the emotional climate you create. A feminine heart is reactive by nature. It reflects the emotional weather of the masculine presence it's near. So the question is not, how do I make her feel safe? The question is, am I safe within myself? Because the truth is, your energy doesn't just influence her, it teaches her. It shows her what steadiness feels like. It shows her what composure looks like in motion. When your actions and emotions are aligned, when your words match your calm, she starts to regulate herself around your presence. That's why some men can walk into a room and instantly shift the atmosphere. They don't do it by trying, they do it by being. The Stoic man is that still center in a spinning world. He's not cold, he's contained. He's not detached, he's disciplined. He understands that composure is not the absence of feeling, it's the mastery of it. So even when things get heated, he doesn't match her chaos, he mirrors her back to peace. When she's upset, he doesn't absorb her storm, He becomes the ground she can stand on. When she tests him, he doesn't react, he reflects. His silence doesn't punish, it stabilizes. His stillness doesn't distance, it invites calm, because his goal is not to control her emotions, but to control his own energy so completely that her emotions have no choice but to harmonize. You see, most men operate backwards. They wait for her to be calm so they can relax. They need her approval to feel confident, her affection to feel alive. That's weakness disguised as connection. The Stoic man flips the script. He becomes the source, not the seeker. He doesn't take energy, he sets it. And that's why women feel drawn to him without understanding why. They can sense it, that invisible pulse of quiet power. It's not loud or performative. It's steady, centered, unshaken. It's the energy of a man who doesn't chase highs or fear lows. He simply remains, and that constancy creates a gravitational pull stronger than charm or looks ever could. When you live in that energy, you stop reacting. You start responding. You don't mirror her mood. You mirror your values. If she's angry, you stay patient. If she's distant, you stay grounded. If she's emotional, you stay clear. Because your presence is not a reflection of her, it's a reflection of your principles. That's what it means to be the energy mirror. You are the proof that peace is possible in a world addicted to reaction. And when she sees you hold that peace, not because you're suppressing feeling, but because you've mastered it, something inside her shifts. She starts to feel safe enough to let go of her own armor. And that's when real connection begins, when both people are free to be soft. But one person remains strong. The Stoic man doesn't take her emotions personally. He sees them as weather passing clouds across the sky of her heart. He doesn't chase storms. He doesn't try to fix the rain. He simply stays grounded until the sky clears, because he knows his power lies not in control, but in consistency. When a woman realizes your calm doesn't disappear when things get difficult, she begins to trust you in ways she never trusted anyone before. She'll test you less, speak softer, open more, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. You showed her that emotional stability isn't just a promise, it's your nature. And that's when she mirrors something deeper back to you: respect. Not the kind you force, but the kind you inspire. Because when your energy is clean, your presence feels sacred. It's the kind of energy that heals rather than drains, that leads rather than follows, the kind that makes people breathe easier when you walk into the room, not because you speak loudly, but because you carry silence like authority. That's the essence of Stoic control in motion. It's not about pretending not to care. It's about caring so deeply that you refuse to lose yourself. It's about mastering the art of peace in movement, walking through chaos without letting chaos walk through you. Because a man who controls his energy controls everything. He doesn't dominate others, he harmonizes them. He doesn't demand respect, he embodies it. He doesn't beg for peace, he is peace. And in a world addicted to noise, that kind of stillness is irresistible. True strength is felt, not shown. Energy speaks before words ever can. Power isn't always in how you stay. Sometimes it's in how you leave. Most men crumble in the moment of goodbye. They linger, explain, plead, hoping to rewrite what's already written. But a Stoic man understands leaving isn't weakness. It's the highest form of self-control. Because walking away with peace requires more strength than staying out of fear. There's an art to departure. It's not dramatic. It's not cold. It's calm, the kind of calm that unsettles those who expected you to beg for closure. A man who knows his worth never chases understanding from someone who already made peace with misunderstanding him. When you leave, you don't announce it. You don't need to prove anything. You simply stop explaining yourself to places that stopped listening. That silence is louder than any speech. It's the sound of boundaries reclaiming their power. A Stoic exit is quiet. Not because you're heartless, but because you've said enough with your presence. You gave what was real. You showed up with truth. And when the moment no longer honors that truth, you withdraw it, not out of resentment, but out of respect for yourself. It's in that stillness that your energy becomes unforgettable, because nothing echoes louder in someone's memory than the peace of a man who refused to beg. The world expects you to react, to argue, to prove, to justify. But when you choose composure, you create mystery. And mystery is born from control. Walking away doesn't mean you stopped caring. It means you started protecting what no one else valued properly: your energy, your focus, your self-respect. When you pull your attention back, you pull your power back. That's the shift from trying to be chosen to choosing yourself. A woman might not realize what your silence means at first, but over time, she'll feel the void where your presence used to be, not the noise, not the words, but the calm gravity that once anchored her. Because peace is addictive, and when you remove it, people notice. You see, strength isn't proven in confrontation. It's proven in detachment, in your ability to stay composed when everything inside you wants to react, in your decision to let distance do what words never could. The Stoic man doesn't storm out. He simply stands up and walks away steady, quiet, certain. He leaves behind no bitterness, no anger, no shame, only the kind of silence that demands reflection. That's the difference between leaving out of pride and leaving out of power. One comes from ego, the other from peace. And peace always leaves an impression, because when you walk away without hate, you turn your absence into presence. You become the unfinished sentence in her mind, the what-if that lingers every time she remembers your stillness. The truth is, the most powerful exits are not about revenge. They're about preservation. You're not punishing anyone, you're protecting your spirit. You're saying, I choose calm over chaos. I choose clarity over confusion. I choose myself. A Stoic man never leaves with noise. He leaves with dignity, and in that dignity lies his greatest weapon: restraint. He doesn't slam doors. He closes them gently. Knowing peace doesn't need an audience, because the way you leave tells the world everything about how you value yourself. Anyone can stay out of attachment. Few can walk away out of self-respect. And when you do, you don't just reclaim your power, you redefine it. You remind the world that a man's silence is not emptiness. It's command. It's freedom. It's the final act of control. The way you leave makes her wish you'd stayed. In the end, everything you've learned isn't about her. It's about you, about the way you stand, the way you breathe, the way you move through the world without needing permission to exist. The Stoic embrace was never about holding someone else, it was about holding yourself. Every chapter was a mirror, the lean that invites, the touch that reassures, the gaze that steadies, the rhythm that anchors, the energy that harmonizes, the silence that commands. Each one was a lesson in control, not control over others, but control over you. Because the truth is, attraction fades, words disappear, but presence real, grounded, unshakable presence lasts forever. It's the kind of energy people remember when they can't explain why. It's what makes a man unforgettable long after he's gone. You don't need to chase attention. You don't need to perform. Just master your stillness, and the world will adjust around you. Be the calm in every storm. Be the silence that speaks louder than noise. Be the man whose peace cannot be touched. And when you walk away, walk with such quiet certainty that even absence feels like authority, because that's the mark of true strength, the kind that doesn't shout, it radiates. If this message spoke to you, if it reminded you of the man you're becoming, then share this video. Leave a comment and write below, "I choose respect," because that's how it begins. One decision, one code, one man at peace with himself. Welcome to Stoic Truth 101.